and welcome to today's video in which I will be flipping through this mini boho junk journal. The cover is made using one of my favorite Indian textile pieces. This is actually cut from an embroidered sari, and the back cover I think is even more gorgeous than the front, although the front, they're both really pretty, aren't they? So I made a little tassel trim to attach to the top left corner using all kinds of different crochet fibers and ribbons. I dangled a Ganesha, the traditional god from Sanatana Dharma who removes obstacles, and by keeping him on your journal, it ensures that there will be no obstacles towards your creativity. And I just love the way this book looks from the side with all the sari trim and lace and fun things that kind of peek out from the edges of the paper. The closure for this one is an elastic, which means you can fill this book up by adding collaged elements and more fabric and collected papers, and it will grow with you. So when we open it up, on the inside, I've created a tuck spot on the inner cover using this beautiful pink sari trim. The inside cover is lined with this pretty green and pink floral paper. And I've included a card of Saraswati, the embodiment of wisdom, who is the goddess of creation, music, art, and intelligence. The back is this pretty embossed wallpaper, and beneath her is this book plate where you can write the date, maybe the date that you start filling up the journal, your intentions for the book, and maybe on the back you can keep a list of items that you've included in it and what they mean to you, or do whatever you want with it. These are just ideas of what you can do with a little junk journal like this. This little paper flip is a William Morris print. The back has this fun little pocket with some coffee-dyed writing paper. This page is similar to the lining of the cover. It's another scrapbook paper that I've added in. I made a little pocket using the lace and included this gorgeous Bohemian woman printout picture. I just love her headscarf and her earrings. There's nothing to me like the style of just layers and layers of luscious jewelry and luscious fabrics. I find the style that we were born into in the Western modern world, it's just so boring. You know, jeans and t-shirts, they might be practical and comfortable, but I love the look of an opulent fabric and, you know, big jewels, which is kind of why I layer myself up with the jewelry and, you know, make things using elements from other cultures, not as an appropriation, but as an appreciation. And I think the Bohemian gypsy style of the Romani people, I really think the reason I'm drawn to it so much is that I have such a deep love and reverence for India and the Vedic lifestyle. And the Romani people actually come from India. Genetically, they are of Indian origin. And so the style that they have, it's still inspired by their ancestral roots in India. Anyhow, this little paper clip, I added some pink lace to it just to make it more fun. I put in this envelope that I made, and I loaded that up with some paper clippings that you can use for your collaging and your art and your creativity. I stuck that in and just clipped it to the page. The back of this page flips open, so there's a lot of writing and drawing space. This pretty paisley again takes me back to India. The tabs on this book are made out of Indian textiles and out of papers that I like to use everything. I'm a reuse, recycle type of a crafter. And so if ever there's a little piece that gets left or torn off before a book is made, I'll save those little scraps, and sometimes I sell them in scrap packs like this in my Etsy shop, and other times I will just incorporate them into my other projects like this one. So this William Morris wrapping paper I made into a pocket and put a little tag into it. Here's another gorgeous Romany woman. I love the Bohemian style. And I backed that on this pretty purple paper. This handmade paper is so soft. It's a cotton rag paper. Coffee dyed writing paper. This pretty gray and gold Indian trim. I made a pocket out of this beautiful storybook image from India. And here's another example of how I like to recycle bits that are left over. The tassel I made from the front, for the front, I actually trimmed it down so that it's all even lengths. And then the bits that I cut off, I sewed onto this page to hold the pocket in place. And that way nothing gets wasted, not even the little clippings of the trim. So you can stick something into this pocket, like a little piece of paper. Maybe I'll put something in there. Another leftover bit. Then more of that handmade cotton paper. This is one of the most fun pages in the book, I think. I took a sheet of paper and then folded it up into a series of pockets. So there's a pocket here, a pocket here, and then the main thing is also a pocket. And into that main pocket, I put this really fun piece of vintage French ephemera. This is actually from a French fashion magazine from the 1930s. And so the front piece says France, and then inside, Lettres de Noblesse. And it took me a while because I can speak and I can understand the spoken word in French, but I do struggle with writing and reading and French grammar. It can get a little bit confusing, but after reading this a few times, I figured out it's an ad for French lingerie from the 30s. It talks about the tissu, and I thought tissu meant tissue. But after reading it a couple of times and figuring out why they were describing their tissue as so romantic, I finally realized tissu didn't mean Kleenex, it meant lingerie. Anyhow, the center of the signature is a torn-edged piece of this gorgeous mandala paper. My uncle gave me a big stack of this for Christmas last year, and I just love using it as the center of the books because it looks so cool, having that full mandala showing. And then the strings that are hanging loose from the binding, I've added beads. So this one has a glass evil eye protection bead. The camera might be making it look black, but it's a really beautiful, deep, almost indigo blue. And then 3 different handmade glass beads on this one. The 3D lampworked glass, this one that looks like beach waves, and then this one that's made with the different canes. I forget the name for that technique. Millefiori. Came to me just as I said I forget it. A Millefiori glass bead. So it's a cool little sampler of different glass making styles. And then this is another pocket page. I left this one empty so you can put what you want into it. But it's 3 pockets made out of one paper. Here's more of this handmade cotton paper with more trim glued to it. Another tab made out of paper scraps. Coffee dyed paper. Here's a bookmark that I made using a scrap piece of this really pretty patchwork type boho fabric, and I just stitched that onto a printable of this really cool vintage textile work. And that printable is one that I bought from a shop on Etsy. I think it's called Medieval Memories. I think I'm wrong about that. I'll look it up before I publish this and let you know, because she has beautiful things in her shop. Here's the other William Morris pocket page. I added this little sampler where I was testing out my sewing machine and made that into a tab. And then I put this printout of a beautiful Om. Isn't that gorgeous? Look at like the stamp on the edge. This was actually something that was sent in the mail in India, and somebody had scanned that to share. This pretty page folds open. So this is a coffee dyed piece of cardstock that I dyed myself, and I love. It's not actually dirty and gross and grungy. I just like the look of something that's old and crumbly. So I coffee dyed that. I stained the edges with more coffee drops. And then when you fold it open, it has this pull-out page of more coffee dyed writing paper. And I used another torn paper scrap to decorate it. Like I said, I enjoy using up all of my scraps, and I encourage you to do the same, because there's nothing like having extra textures and elements and collaged pieces to give your books extra character. This is one of my favorite tabs. It's like a bright, shocking pink. The camera doesn't do it justice. It's so fluorescent. And that brings us to the very back, where I created another tuck spot using this pink sari trim. Stuck one of my business cards into it, and you can fill it up with tons of business cards if you choose to. And yeah, that's the end of this. So I hope you have fun with this little book flip through. The book is for sale, of course, in my Etsy shop, and if you mention seeing the video, I'll include even more extra goodies. I always, like, if you're one of my Etsy customers, you know that whenever you buy something from my shop, there's always a free gift with purchase. People who buy jewelry from my main shop called The Art of Gems, you'll know I always include a charm made with a natural gemstone. And that way I feel like when I buy something that's handmade and special, the reason I buy something handmade instead of something mass-produced is that I appreciate the creativity and the time that the artist put into it. To me, an item that's mass-produced, it lacks soul. You know, it doesn't have anything about it that makes it special or whimsical. There's no story to it. But a handmade item, whether it's handmade paper or hand embroidered trim, or, you know, whatever it might be, or a handmade piece of jewelry like the stuff I make, when you buy something handmade, you know that nobody else has anything exactly like it. There will be a subtle nuance. Even if I make 5 beaded charms that are similar, like, or 5 boho tassels that are similar, they'll each have a slightly different combination of strings in them, and to me, that's what makes something really special. So when I buy a handmade item from another Etsy seller, I always love the items that are handmade, but it takes it to a whole other level of enjoyable to open the package when the seller has written a little thank you note for making the purchase, or when they include a little bonus gift with purchase, whether that's a sample of something else that they make, or whether it's just something that they throw in for fun. And so I want, when somebody buys something from me, I want them to feel special when they open the package. I want them to feel like they didn't just buy a thing and it's a commercial transaction and that's all there is to it. I want them to feel the appreciation I have in my heart for their support of my art and my craft. I want them to feel like it's a special occasion. Whoops. Like opening a birthday gift or a Christmas present, So when you get something from me, whether it's a handmade journal or a piece of jewelry or a sticker that I print out from my own design, whether it's big or small, there will always be something more than what you purchased. So yeah, I don't want to say you only get a gift with purchase if you mention my videos. I'm saying you'll get an extra gift with purchase if you mention my videos. Anyhow, I hope you enjoyed watching this flip through as much as I enjoyed making this precious little journal. And I hope it inspires you to get journaling, get crafting, and enjoy. Much love. We'll see you in the next video. Bye.